governor is saying that this is global warming. You're not going to dupe us like you did with 9/11, but there are over 30 anomalies like this that raise questions. And when I took those 30 anomalies to 5 fire captains and fire chiefs, they all said the same thing. This is more than just a natural fire. And I don't think we can really rely on what's happening on a state level, who is doing the official government investigation. They hired Underwriter Laboratories, and this was the same organization that was part of the 9/11 report, the NIST report, that looked at the tower collapse of 9/11. And they put in fabricated information that's well proven. And again, it gave a theory of pancake theory. So who knows what theory they're going to come up with to explain some of these anomalies that we're looking at, or even if they're going to address that in their report that they're doing right now for the Attorney General. So again, our governor is saying that this is global warming that's doing this. And again, we are a community-based organization, a grassroots group. We're concerned citizens who are taking the initiative and being empowered to make a difference and saying, no, you're not going to dupe us like you did with 9/11 or other types of things that have occurred. We're going to get to the facts, we're going to get to the truth, and that's what we're about right now. So you can go to MauiCommunityInvestigation.com and take a look at the data that we've been gathering. I'm Paul Deloria for the Maui Community Investigation, and I'm here in Lahaina at a parking lot where we're looking at some strange anomalies. Particularly, we're looking at trees that are burnt from the core all the way down into the root system. And yet, the rest of the tree, the bark hasn't been ignited. But again, as Bruce scans along here, you can see that some of the tree members are hollowed out from within, from this fire, but yet the bark remains just fine. And again, as you look here at this tree that fell down, you can see that these fine branches here are also hadn't been burnt, and they had more aliveness at the time. This is 7 months after the fire in Lahaina. And we're going to look at 6 different trees in this one parking lot that have the same anomaly. And Bruce, could you explain a little bit about what this indicates in terms of kind of lightning strikes?
I'm going to throw this in because this is important, because when we talk about directed energy weapons or plasma wave technology, it's not lasers, okay, it's plasma waves, it's energy waves. It's not light, it's not photons, it's not lasers. But this behaves very much like lightning, because lightning is plasma waves, and directed energy weapon is plasma waves. So many of the things do it. So when lightning hits a tree, it's very interesting. It's this weatherman, pointing out how when lightning hits a tree, the energy that comes down from lightning concentrates at the base and lights the base on fire. And you'll see this tree burning from the down. Again, the lightning comes down, it hits the lower, when it gets to the ground, it grounds out. That's what the energy does. And so the root right at the base catches on fire. And you see this, happening here in St. Louis Cemetery, where lightning hit this tree, and the same sort of thing. It's burning from the bottom up. So Paul's going to talk about that later, but I just wanted to take that into you now so you understand how plasma wave technologies work. That's what basically I have to show you.
Just to show you where we're located. Bruce, why don't you scan on over here, and you can see this historic building that is being resurrected. And you can see in between the tree here, I don't know if you can see it, Bruce, but there's that little light tower there as another landmark. And we're about a block away from Front Street here in Lahaina at this parking lot. So let's go to the next tree. Again, we're looking at several of these that have the same anomaly. And you can see it again, burnt out from within. And it goes all the way down also, that big tree that's up there, again, burnt all the way down to the core, which again is not normally happen in a fire. Sometimes you can get a spark that will go into a crevice, and if the tree is naturally hollowed out, that could ignite and have the same thing, but it wouldn't go down to the root system. So let's go down to this third tree that we have here. And we'll be looking at, again, see how it goes down and the embers all the way down into there. But again, the trees are not burnt out at the base here like the others, but again, at the very root system, at the foundation of the tree, it went. Now let's go to this next tree. Again, you see all the fine branches that if this was something that was totally destructive would have gone up in a blaze, but it didn't. But again, let's look at the base. Let's look at what's happening. Bruce is just going down, looking how deep this crevice goes and how it's burnt right down into the root system itself. And yet, as you look around, the foliage that's coming back over this past 7 months means that it wasn't, the other foliage wasn't burnt out at its roots where it was totally destroyed. But again, these trees in this whole parking lot, again, have the same thing. And when you look at the big branches and limbs, you see the same hollowed outness that occurs. And again, let's keep on moving along the parking lot here. And while we go to this next tree, I'll just talk a little bit about the Maui Community Investigation. We're a grassroots group that started right after the fire. Many of us here in the community felt something was not right, and we started digging. But again, look at this tree over here, and again, how it's burnt out. And Bruce, you're going to venture in there with these vines here, and you can see down deep into the tree how far the burn goes, but yet the lighter, smaller limbs and branches were not destroyed. So you're seeing many trees like this. Again, sometimes you can say, oh, that was a puka that got in there, but to have that level of destruction and burnout all the way down deep into the root system is something that is far from normal. And you can see, again, these branches, as Bruce goes into some of these limbs, and you can see how much they were hollowed out. Some, we did measurements on some of the trees, and it was about 12 inches deep that we saw. But here in this parking lot, again, it's something abnormal. And let's go to this other tree here. And again, same behavior that we see in the other trees. And again, Bruce is going to go right into the tree itself and look down. And again, and Bruce, if you could do a shot upward also on that. So we'll be coming back here in a little bit, and we'll be taking samples of the base core of the tree and what is in there at a deep level. We also brought a chainsaw with us so that we can further get some samples for later analysis. If this was some type of plasma wave that happened, then we'll have to see if there are trace elements, footprints, that we'll do an analysis to look at a little bit more deeply. And again, we'll be consulting with experts who understand how trees burn. It's their profession, these arborists, so we'll be getting their analysis of what we're looking at. Here's a tree that you see that's kind of blown out from the base from where it was, but all these trees have that same burn out from the core. And here's something that seems really strange, that it's not a normal spot like the other trees. You can see it's kind of caved in, and we don't know exactly what happened here, but it seemed like the tree was pushed away from the base of where it was. It could have been the high winds that did something to that. But again, we'll take a look at that, and we're going to take some samples so we can do a later analysis of that. And across the parking lot, you can see that there's a tree that is downed over here. And this tree actually looks like a normal downed tree by high winds. There's really no traces of burning out at the base. And you can see these other trees along the way here. Some of them are actually coming back to life. And these shrubs that are around here, again, 7 months after, are here. But again, let's just pull this back, and you can see that it's not burnt out at the base. In fact, it's just a tree that got torn down because of the high winds that existed. And so it's a good contrast to what we were just looking at in terms of these other trees that we just looked at along this whole line over here. And you can see we just swept from this corner over here. We swept around looking at all these different trees at this parking lot. Again, the parking lot is a block away from Front Street, not too far from where the pier was. And again, we're digging, we're looking, and we've been, not only this anomaly that we're talking about here today, but there are over 30 anomalies like this that raise questions. And when I took those 30 anomalies to 5 fire captains and fire chiefs, they all said the same thing. This is more than just a natural fire. And I don't think we can really rely on what's happening on a state level, who is doing the official government investigation. They hired underwriter laboratories. And this was the same organization that was part of the 9/11 report, that the NIST report that looked at the tower collapse of 9/11. And they put in fabricated information that's well proven. And again, it gave a theory of pancake theory. So who knows what theory they're going to come up with to explain some of these anomalies that we're looking at, or even if they're going to address that in their report that they're doing right now for the Attorney General. So again, our governor is saying that this is global warming that's doing this. And again, we are a community-based organization, a grassroots group. We're concerned citizens who are taking the initiative and being empowered to make a difference and saying, no, you're not going to dupe us like you did with 9/11 or other types of things that have occurred. We're going to get to the facts. We're going to get to the truth. And that's what we're about right now. So you can go to MauiCommunityInvestigation.com and take a look at the data that we've been gathering there. And if you can, if you have the financial means to support us, we'd greatly appreciate it. We're in a phase right now where we're looking at 4 different legal approaches, and we need to hire some lawyers to help us with that process. So again, Any type of financial support would be greatly appreciated. We're at MauiCommunityInvestigation.com. Mahalo.